And welcome in Brew Crew to the Dynasty Brews podcast. We are streaming live on Twitter and YouTube, and we are going live on Tiki Live Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Guys, it is Super Bowl Sunday weekend, and it's a Thursday. It's a thirsty Thursday. It's also a tight end Thursday because we got a guy here that knows what he's talking about when it comes to tight end. David Gottieri. I think I butchered it again. But my man, this guy wants it written on his headstone. Go get a top tight end. So, David, how you doing today, man? Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's great to guest. I appreciate it very much. And I just want to warn you guys, like you said, it's a thirsty Thursday. It's the Dynasty Brews podcast. I did pour one up. I'm drinking Sam Adams hazy, so you guys are getting the raw, unfiltered version of it tonight. I hope you're prepared. I apologize in advance.
Hey, that's what this entire show is all about. Me and Justin, we love to be unfiltered. We love to just get stuff out there, and it just happens to be that we both love to drink too. So, it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever happens. And we always have a tradition around here that we do a cheers before the podcast starts. So cheers to you guys.
Cheers,
Modelo went out. So, cheers. Justin, how are you doing today, my man?
Well, I've had better weeks. Had the flu last week, and 3 people in my family that I live with got COVID positive today. So, feel like I'm looking at my future when I look at my kids and my wife. So, other than that, I'm doing good. I mean, I seem to be healthy today so far. So far, so good.
Yep. I mean, just keep them in quarantine, right? Just keep the door shut. You might get a little silence too.
Yeah. We'll see. They still don't like to sleep, so I thought that maybe if they were sick, they'd sleep in more, but it doesn't seem to be the case yet.
Well, we're hoping for a speedy recovery, man, and we're hoping that you don't get it either. So stay safe, sanitize yourself all the time.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, we're going to get into it right off the bat. I have a little game for you guys. You guys are the 2 tight end guys. I told Justin I have a tight end guy coming on. He said, word, I want in on this. Let's go. I like tight ends too. So I said, word, let's do this.
Yeah.
So we're going to play a little game. It's called On the Clock, and I'm going to give you 2 guys that our fans might be faced with a draft situation, and you're going to give me a defense for one of them. I'm going to tell you which guy you're going to defend, and you're going to kind of just give me a little defense, kind of make it, an argument, but don't really go yelling at each other or anything like that. This ain't Jerry Springer now. But, just kind of persuade me to give you the point. It's like around the horn, but not everybody gets a point on this one. All right, guys. So the first one's on the list. I wanted to knock it out real quick because I know that my boy Justin, he's a Dawson Knox guy. He loves Dawson Knox. He is a Bills fan to the utmost. This guy probably goes through 2 tables a year. Is that right, Justin? 2 or 3?
It's a negative. I do not. I wish, but no.
You got to give the elbow of the kids, the Macho Man elbow right there. But anyway, bring it. All right, guys. So,
You're cracking me up, man.
David, I'm going to give you a guy that I like a lot. I think that he kind of really showed out this year in his rookie season. I'm going to give you Pat Freiermuth. And I'm also going to give you the stage first since you're the guest. Tell me, why should I take Pat Freiermuth over Dawson Knox?
I'll tell you what, there are a lot of reasons why you should take Pat Freiermuth over Dawson Knox. And if you want to give you a little background, I do a little bit of scouting on tight ends. I don't scout every position this deeply, but I've become known as the tight end guy, so I decided I might as well go all in. And I created what we call a tight end anatomical checklist. And I'm basically charting all of the metrics on Player Profiler, Jax Falcone also does an anatomy of a top 15 dynasty tight end. So I'm using the metrics that are basically predictive, indicative of success. I'm also then charting age. I'm also charting their points per game production through 4 years in the NFL. And Pat Freiermuth, he checks the boxes a lot better than Dawson Knox in essentially every box, right? So number one, draft capital. He's a second-round pick. We have Knox as a third-round pick. Both of these guys were early declares. 40 times, we don't have one on Freiermuth. Knox, 4.64. We'll call it a wash because we don't have one on Freiermuth. Maybe slight edge to Knox. Dominators in college, Dawson Knox is one of the worst dominators in my database in college. 4.2%. Obviously, he played with DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. That's got something to do with it. But he had demonstrated zero ability to command targets at the college level. Pat Freiermuth on there, he's a 24% dominator in college. He was really good. Yards per reception in college, slight edge to Knox, but that's not one of the heavy categories. And then NFL production. That's the big one that we care about, right? Dawson Knox, 5.3 as a rookie points per game, 6.1 second year. Freiermuth has already cleared that, 9.5 as a rookie. Knox was very touchdown dependent this year. Freiermuth almost equaled his rookie as Dawson Knox's third year, 9.5 points per game for 10.9 for Knox in his third year. So Knox, you can really argue situation. He's got one more year tied to Josh Allen. But otherwise, it's really everything is pointing in the direction of Pat Freiermuth.
That was a compelling analytical argument there. I mean, I agree. I believe that, Freiermuth has a lot more talent. And I think that, he had a lot more of a successful career in college. But I'm going to let Justin take this away because I think he's got an opening here, man. That didn't really persuade me for Freiermuth. You got your opening, Justin. Tell me about Dawson Knox.
So this season alone, Dawson Knox had 8 top tight end 1 finishes, 2 in the tight end 2, and then 3 clunkers in tight end 3 or worse. So Josh Allen's he's tied to the best quarterback that you could argue with beside Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes, right? So he's got elite targets there, an elite quarterback throwing him the football, and then he's also got a great supporting cast around him. He's got Gabriel Davis, the new number 2 there that I think. And then he's got Stephon Diggs there who's going to command the targets, but he's going to command most of the coverage. And you got Freiermuth coming off a season with Big Ben, which Big Ben obviously isn't what he used to be, but he's still a better quarterback than Mason Rudolph. We don't really know who the quarterback's going to be next year for the Steelers. So if you want a safety blanket and a guy that's is in a high-scoring offense that's very predictable and they're going to pass the ball, this is your guy. I think the Steelers have Najee Harris on the other side of the ball there. They're going to be a team that I think wants to run the ball and play strong defense. They're not going to be a high-octane offense unless they hit on a quarterback, which they could, but that's a very risky. Whereas Dawson Knox has got it. He's got the quarterback. He's got a great supporting cast around him. You did make a good point about his contract, but I do know that they like him there. And again, he's just scored. He's been so efficient this season, finishing the season with 587 yards but 9 touchdowns, and he also missed 2 games due to an injury. So you could see even more production out of there. I think he's the play there. Again, 8 tight end 1 finishes is a good one for me.
Yeah, that's a great one. So I just want to throw in these last 2 tidbits. Both these guys, why I put them together, it's an interesting fact. Both these guys finished 1 and 2 in red zone targets. So these guys are the guys when the teams are down the field and ready to score, they're getting targeted. And Pat Freiermuth finished first, but only cashed in on 7, while Dawson Knox finished second and cashed in on 9 touchdowns. So I think for this one, for me, I'm looking at it as I don't know the situation at quarterback for the Steelers, and I know the situation at quarterback for the Bills. And I do think Justin has a point. I think that they like him down in Buffalo, and I think that they're probably going to keep him around. So as long as Josh Allen's there, feeding him the ball, and we don't know who's going to be in Pittsburgh. Maybe it's Jimmy G. Maybe it's one of the rookie quarterbacks. I think I'm going to have to side just barely with Justin on this one.
I call Justin and Justin bias. It's something to do with the name. I know it.
Yeah,
there's no bias, dear. I am not a crook. I promise.
All right.
So here we go. We are going to change that scoreboard. But, guys, make up your arguments for the next one. The next one's going to be actually really interesting. I know a lot of people got this one going. Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce. David, I'm going to have you go with Mark Andrews. Justin, I'm going to have you go with Travis Kelce. And Justin, I'm going to have you lead this one off.
All right. Again, Travis Kelce's a unicorn, man. That dude has been nothing short of spectacular. He's tied to the best quarterback ever. He's getting up there in age, which is the only thing that I really have against him. Other than that, I mean, he continues to produce over 1,100 yards this season, 9 touchdowns, just like we saw with Dawson Knox, 11 tight end 1 finishes. So he's a rock star there. I mean, he's going to finish tight end 1. He's only had a couple clunkers this season. And again, this is a season in which Patrick Mahomes he struggled quite a bit. And even in spite of all those struggles, we still had those top 12 finishes. And you know that they're going to pass the ball a ton. And again, you're just tied to the best quarterback in the league, either him or Josh Allen. You can make an argument for either one. But he's the top target there. The only thing I have to worry about is age. But I'm a huge Kelce fan if you can get him. People worried about his age. He's the guy I'm going with over Mark Andrews. Not too sure. I read a report today that Lamar Jackson might not even get extended out there in Baltimore. That offense runs the ball so much too. I don't know if that whole Lamar Jackson thing is true. I think that'd be insane. But aside from that, I just think it's Kelce all the way for me in terms of if you want a good safety blanket.
Yeah, there have been a lot of weird arguments going out there for Tyler Huntley to be the starter after a showing. That just seems like it's kind of a crazy accusation to kind of go into that. But, I mean, they need to have Lamar Jackson back there. I mean, he is the whole heart and soul of that team. But, you know, I think you make a great point. Obviously, he's been number one, I think, 3 out of the past 5 years. The lone exceptions being Gronk, I believe, in, 2019, I think. 2019, 2018, and then it was obviously this year with the guy that David's going to tell me about, Mr. Mark Andrews. So, David, you got the floor. Tell me about Mark Andrews. Tell me why I should take him over Travis Kelce.
First of all, before I get to Mark Andrews, I'm going to flat outright dismiss the quote-unquote report that Lamar Jackson may not be re-signed by the Baltimore Ravens. I will say this anytime, NBC Sports Edge, not to name names, NBC Sports Edge, they are consistent for putting out these headlines. You click that article, I know exactly what article you're talking about. You click it, and it will tell you exactly. It's not that he's not expected to be re-signed. It's, they're not sure if he's going to be re-signed before training camp. They mislead consistently. This is what they do. I don't put any stock into it. Moving on to Mark Andrews.
Hold on.
Your argument's over.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. David,
gotta pull it back.
NBC Sports Edge, you suck. I wish I had a fake news clip on here.
I like the screeching halt that you put in. I didn't even know how you could do that. But yeah, moving on to Mark Andrews. If this show was called the Redraft Brews podcast, this would be a debate for me. Travis Kelce versus Mark Andrews. But if I remove the names from this conversation, we're talking dynasty here. And I told you had a 26-year-old tight end who scored 17.7 points per game this year. 26 years old, 17.7 points per game. Or a 32-year-old tight end who scored 16.4 points per game. Would you even hesitate? None of us would hesitate to be taking the 26-year-old who outscored him by 1.3 points per game this year. And obviously, it's not as simple as, age, points per game, throw everything else out. But Mark Andrews, the only thing against him the past 2 years, why he wasn't on that Kelce level, It wasn't his target share, it was the team volume. And not only was Baltimore last place at 2 consecutive years in pass rate at about 45% pass rate, they were like 5 percentage points below second to last in pass rate. So what happened this year? They took a step forward in pass rate. They were only 22nd in pass rate, but because they're a good offense, they ran a lot of plays. They finished 9th in passing attempts. And we saw Mark Andrews, that target share just equated to so much more. And I believe very much that can stick. It should stick. The Ravens are a very analytically minded team. They know that passing, if you have a passing offense, you build on it. If it shows something, you don't revert it to a running game, especially talk about Dobbins and Gus Edwards coming back. That's the main argument against Andrews. They'll revert to a running game. Dobbins is coming off a major injury. He's a receiving running back to start with. He's very capable in the receiving game. Gus Edwards is a 27-year-old backup running back coming off of an ACL tear. I don't put any stock that's going to change their game plan. They're going to continue to build on this passing offense. Mark Andrews is in his prime. Hollywood in his prime. Rashad Bateman going into year 2. We could see this offense pass more in next year than this past year. And it's not abnormal for a team to be higher in passing attempts than pass ratio. Like you look at Buffalo, they were 13th in pass ratio. They were 7th in passing attempts. So I wouldn't take the 27 pass ratio and be too concerned. If they're 9th in passing attempts, there's a ton of room for this offense to go higher if the pass ratio climbs even a little bit higher. So Mark Andrews, he's much safer at his age. Anything happens injury-wise, he could have an ACL tear today, and people would still probably give you a first-round pick for him. Travis Kelce, if that happens, ain't nobody paying you nothing. Absolutely nothing. So right now you don't have a production gap to argue for Travis Kelce. He was below Andrews. You don't have age. You don't have security. It's really no debate for me. It's Mark Andrews, teardrop, then maybe Travis Kelce, George Kittle, those kind of players.
I don't know if you get nothing for him, but you know what? You make a very good argument. I don't know if it was all the body movements and everything that was associated with it, kind of distracted, but you know what? You make a damn good argument. This is the Dynasty Brews. Do we want somebody who's 6 years in front of his prime? You know?
Yes.
6 years apart?
Yes, you do.
Justin, I like it. You're sticking with your case over there.
Time to scoreboard. It's 1-1. Let's go. Bring on the next round. I'm ready.
All right. Settle down, everybody. Go back to your corners. All right, guys. We have an updated score. It is 1-1, guys. Wow. I knew this was going to be a showdown. All right. You guys ready for the next one? Kyle Pitts, talking about Dynasty, guys. Kyle Pitts. I want to know where you guys want to get him. I'm gonna tell you this. There's a bunch of people that are out there saying he's going around the 4th tight end. So that puts him in the 3 to 4 round range. So, David, explain to me why I should get him in the first 3 rounds. And Justin, explain to me why I should get him after the 3rd round. David, right to you, my man.
Well, to start, if you can get Kyle Pitts in 3rd round, 1, that's a mistake for you for not taking him in the 2nd round. 2, you're lucky you're playing with league mates who are letting him fall that far. Right now on Keep Trade Cut, which is not obviously hailed by everyone, I believe in Keep Trade Cut because, 1, they have no bias. All they're doing is collecting votes from Dynasty players to see how they're valuing him today. He's 10th overall. He's the tight end 1 on Keep Trade Cut Dynasty consensus voting. And that's the 110. So if you're getting him in the 2nd round, 1, you shouldn't have passed on in the 1st round, I believe. He has an argument to be the first non-quarterback taken in Superflex leagues. We are talking about the scarcest position in fantasy football. We are talking about the highest drafted tight end of all time, the greatest tight end prospect of all time. Checks every analytical box in my 10-handle checklist. There are about 14. He checks every single one of them. He had 1,000 yards as a 21-year-old rookie. Getting Kyle Pitts and slotting him into your tight end slot is it's as big a game changer as having Pat Mahomes as the 101. You could argue him as high as you want in the 2nd round or 3rd round. It's absolute robbery.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I just don't see it that way.
I like that, but Justin,
people are trying to take him as high as they want to. Kyle Pitts is good, but there's a couple of things that I feel like need to be addressed inside that Atlanta team. Calvin Ridley's gone, so he was gone most of the season, which led to this inflated vacated. He had vacated targets that were kind of funneled to him. You had him and Cordero Patterson. There's no supporting cast around him really. They do have a draft coming up. I'd like to see them add some stuff around him, but there is a lot of uncertainty. Matt Ryan's getting up there in age. We don't know what's going to happen with Calvin Ridley, like I said. So they're going to need to add a running back in this class, I think, in order to – I think that they're going to want to run the ball more, similar to what they did in Tennessee. So I just don't think the volume's going to be there like it was this year because their team was so bad this year. I think that if Calvin Ridley comes back, so that's going to eat into his targets. I think they're going to probably target a receiver high in this draft class, regardless of what happens with Ridley or not. So I think there's always going to be competition for that. I don't know if I can take him as high as the first round. And for a tight end, it is the scarcest position, like you said. But with so much, there's so many tight ends available. If you're sitting in a deep league, you can get a guy like Dawson Knox later in the draft. You can get, Pat Freiermuth is the guy that I would take over him. Freiermuth's going to cost you way less, and he's had very good production like we've seen his rookie year. I'd rather just take the gamble on a guy like Freiermuth rounds later than invest a top 3 dynasty pick in a position that you're hoping he's going to be Travis Kelce and all that. But really, it hasn't happened yet. He had 1,000 yards, only 1 touchdown. Do we think they're going to continue to be a high-scoring offense? Do we think they're going to be a high-scoring offense? I don't think so. So it's really hard for me to take him that high based on all the question marks that kind of surround that team.
And you know what? That's actually where I would go with that, Justin. As far as this argument goes, I love the talent, and there's no questioning he is the most talented tight end out there. But the situation makes for a fantasy performance sometimes. And when you're the lone option on there, there is easily a chance that somebody's going to bracket you, especially with how much perimeter time he gets. He was treated sometimes kind of like the replacement of Julio Jones, hanging out on the outside, running receiver routes instead of tight end routes. So for me, I look at it and I go, you have an old-ass QB, you have no running game, your line is weak as sauce, and you could hope and pray for garbage time, but, at the end of the day, when you have Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, even George Kittle now with Trey Lance out there, I look at it and I kind of go, I'm going to let somebody else take that guy. And it might come back and bite me in the butt, but I'm going to go with somebody who I know is in a solidified offense. When you want to win fantasy, you win with players that are on winning teams and teams that can score.
He's 21 years old. He could go through 2 regimes before he even hits 27. 2 coaching regimes before he even hits 27.
That's true.
You're getting a 1,000-yard tight end at worst.
But if he goes through 2 regimes, where are you drafting him? He's probably not going to be worth a top 3 pick.
If you draft Kyle Pitts today, he stays on your team for the net. You don't ever trade him until way down the line. It's a career investment.
I'm saying, listen, you draft your team to play with your team. But what I am a fan of kind of playing the market a little bit as far as getting value out of things. And I just think he's a little too inflated for me. I'd rather buy him with a dip next year if his production doesn't quite live up to that, because he's a very talented player. I'd love to have him on my team. I just don't know if I can justify taking him that high is kind of where I run into it.
And there's the argument right there. He is too overhyped and overvalued right now, overrated a little bit as far as ranking right now. Not talent-wise. He's not overrated talent-wise, but people are putting him up there, like you said, as a possible first guy off non-quarterback in a super flex. That's a little crazy to me. That's just a little bit crazy for me, but you know what? I'm a crazy guy to begin with, so I'm a bold guy. I'm all about the bold moves, but I think I'm going to go with Justin's argument on that one, and we're going to go 2-1 on this one.
I like
Don't worry, David. You got a good one coming up.
I like to be the underdog.
I like that attitude.
Love the discussion here, though.
Yeah, no, this is why I put it together. Shit, man, dude, you guys are fucking killing it. So my next one, this one's interesting to me. All of them are interesting to me. I put them together. But anyways, this one is interesting because they're both free agents. Dalton Schultz and Mike Gesicki, two guys coming from prominent parts in their offense, but there are question marks whether they're going to be with their teams. Obviously, we expect Schultz back, but Gesicki, more or less, we don't really know what's going to go on in Miami. We want to see him back because we want to see that San Francisco offense ran with him. But I'm going to give Dalton Schultz to David. Justin, you're going to get Mike Gesicki. Justin, you're going to lead us off. Tell me about Mike Gesicki and why I should buy him over Dalton Schultz.
I'm going to make the argument here based on the cost, I guess. I'm not super high on either one of these guys. I will say that Mike Gesicki had 6 top, tight end 1 finishes, and he played for a team that kind of got hot at the end. Most of his damage actually came when they were losing games. He did have 780 yards, which is actually more than Dawson Knox had, but he only had 2 touchdowns to go with it. So this team has a lot of room for improvements, and you have a new regime coming into town. That the guy that he's had familiarity with George Kittle. If he goes back to Miami, he could have a solid home there. But really, he's going to cost you far less. He's put up tight end 1 numbers 6 times more often than not this season. He had 5 tight end 2 finishes, and like I said, 780 yards, only 2 touchdowns. And he's been a consistent producer for the last couple of years. Based on his cost, he is going to cost you less than I think Dalton Schultz would. And Dalton Schultz also had like the best situation I've ever seen a tight end have. And who knows what's going to happen there. He had CeeDee Lamb, he had Amari Cooper there, and he had Dak Prescott throwing him the ball. And, that was probably his ceiling that we've seen over the last year. If he goes somewhere else, I can't see that production he put up last year being replicated one bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. But to be honest with you, with all the options they're exploring with Amari Cooper being gone and not thinking about signing, I think that they found their go-to guy for Dak, and I think Dalton's going to end up back in Dallas. But I'm not going to take up too much time. David, take it away. Tell me about Dalton Schultz and why I should pick him over Mike Gesicki.
This is probably not going to be the round where I make up my deficit. I'm going to be straight up with you because I'm not super high on either of these players, and I think they're both sells to me. I do have Dalton Schultz above Mike Gesicki in my dynasty rankings, though, and I'll tell you why. For all that I like about Mike Gesicki's athleticism, the 4.54, 40, the 41.5-inch vertical, he just hasn't shown any ability to rise above the situation. 2.9, 8.5, 10.6, 9.7 points per game in his first 4 years. 10.6 is his max in the first 4 years. Dalton Schultz's max is 12.3, obviously this year with the Cowboys. So you're really betting on situation. Like, this is a situation bet for these players. And I think I would pivot off of either to Noah Fant, who just crushes in every single category. He's faster, bigger, faster, stronger, drafted higher, better year 1, year 2 production, year 3 production. Like, he's just better across the board.
Has produced with absolute garbage.
Absolute crud. So I think we're in agreement there. But Mike Gesicki, he has not, even in better situation than Noah Fant, he hasn't gone up to that level. So if I can pivot off of either of these guys, I will. I'll take Dalton Schultz over Mike Gesicki straight up. At cost, I think I agree with Justin. Gesicki later. But straight up, I think you're just betting on situation. It's more likely for Schultz to re-sign with the Cowboys than for Gesicki to land in a situation that's going to elevate him above what Miami elevated him to.
Yeah, and I think that's where it ends for me. I mean, I think that just the situation's a lot better for Dalton Schultz. Signing back with the Cowboys.
I also think that Schultz is probably a better blocker. So he's probably going to be on the field more than I would see Gesicki, who's an awful run blocker. I just think he's a terrible – I'm kind of –
That's why it's a weird fit for him in that system. Everybody's like, oh, he's going to be the next George Kittle. I'm like, you realize George Kittle doesn't leave the field, right?
I would actually push
Kittle's
back against that,
good.
guys. I do not subscribe to the theory of being good blocking is good for fantasy. I don't believe it is at all. It doesn't get you on the field more. The good tight ends in fantasy are already on the field. They don't need to be good blockers for that to happen. We want route participation. Bottom line, route participation. And George Kittle gets used as the example, right? Oh, he's a good blocker, so he's always on the field. If George Kittle was utilized less as a blocker, it would be better. If he was a worse blocker, he gets about 15 plus percent of pass plays where he is not set out on a route. He is used as a blocker. And that is limiting his route participation, and that is limiting his ability to get more targets. So we do not want players who are blocking. We do not want them to be good at blocking. And if they are, we want them to be used on routes despite of it. So we don't want players that should not be the reason we're buying into players.
So I take it you are out then on Troutman.
I think I was probably the biggest Adam Troutman hater of the year this past year. I have said a million things about Troutman. you can find that on the Twitter history. Go ahead and search it.
Yeah. I still believe in Troutman. Not as high as people want. I mean, I sold him high last year. Like, people thought he was a thing. Like, I still think he's a good player, and I don't know. I think he'll be fine. He had a couple of games where he was getting targets. It's just, we'll see what happens.
The game before he got injured, he was a tight end one.
I'm a big subscriber to athleticism, and if you can't be above replacement level at tight end, you'll never matter, no matter what situation you're in. There are 0 tight ends. I don't know about this past year, but the year before, I haven't checked this year's data. 0 in the top 24 to run a 4.80 or so. Troutman runs a 4.80. There's 0 top 9. We're not even talking top 12, and we know how low the bar is for tight ends. Like, there's very, very, very few cases where he profiles more like a fullback to me. He's, like we say, he's got a high pass block percentage. He's used a low A dot roll. It's not used down the field. So he's block, chip, and release. It limits his route participation. I don't have any interest in those type of players.
All right. So someone offers you Tim Tebow for Troutman. Which side you take?
I'll take a 4th round pick for Adam Troutman. Future 4. I don't care. 2024 4. I'll take it.
I'll bring Tim Tebow on my roster just so we can win it.
I ain't taking Tebow, but I'll take a 2028 4. I'll take a 2032 4 for Adam Troutman.
2030.
I'm keeping Tom Brady on my roster so he can win his 9th title. He won his 8th on mine. All right, so with that one, I'm going to give it to David just because I like Dalton Schultz a little bit better. Not a huge Gesicki fan. Thought he disappeared at times for Miami that desperately needed him, which is where Jalen Waddle kicked up. So, I mean, he had one game where he had like 7 targets and 0 receptions, and he was targeted like 3 times in the end zone. So, yeah. Not really my favorite guy. So I'm going to end it with a good one. TJ Hawkinson and Darren Waller. Now I'm going to give D-Wall to Justin, and David, you're going to get Hawk. David, lead us off. Tell us why we need TJ Hawkinson over Darren Waller.
I think I'm going to lose this point scoring. I agreed to represent these guys who I have in the same tier. Like, I have Hawkinson above Darren Waller in my dynasty rankings. But I'm firmly, what Justin's going to say is that Waller has higher upside, which he does. He can be a 15-plus point per game player, which he can. Why I think I'll say this: if you have a good team, go for Darren Waller. If you can win this year, next, go for Darren Waller. But if you're playing the stock market, there's a lot more risk with Darren Waller. You're talking about age. These guys average exactly the same points per game: 12.1 points per game for Waller, 12.1 points per game for TJ Hawkinson. And some of that had to do with the touchdown variance for Darren Waller. But there are more question marks, right? Like, now we have Hunter Renfrow in the picture. Do we even know that Waller's going to outscore Renfrow next year? And I freaking love Darren Waller. I'm all in on him in redraft over TJ Hawkinson. I will fade the living shit out of TJ Hawkinson. But if you take the guy who's going into his age 30 season, and again, these players score the same points per game next year, Like you're not going to have any resale value for Darren Waller compared to TJ Hawkinson. And you're risking taking a dying asset in what, the 5th round right now. I would rather almost punt later, get Noah Fant later, or I would invest early for Kyle Pitts, as I'm on record of saying. But there's just risk. There's a lot more risk with Darren Waller. You need him to not only outproduce TJ Hawkinson, but you need him to outproduce him enough for it to matter. And he's running out of time to do that. He's going into his age 30 season. So you better win in 2022 or 2023 if you're making that move.
Well, Kelsey will tell you that 30 is the new 20. So
Kelsey is an outlier of all outliers. He is the GOAT, and not many people are comparable to the greatest of all time.
That's very true. Justin, tell me about Darren Waller and why I should pick him over TJ Hawkinson.
To me, it's kind of, Darren Waller is older than TJ Hawkinson, but contrary to your belief, I mean, over the last 3 seasons, who's been available to their team more so, Darren Waller or TJ Hawkinson? TJ Hawkinson's only had 1 season where he's been able to go the full distance and finish all 16 games. And over the last 3 seasons, this last season was the only season I see Darren Waller missing any time. He's getting up there in age, but he's been a go-to target for Derek Carr. He's produced when there's been absolutely horse crap around him. His best receiver this year was like Hunter Renfrow, who was no one a year ago. I just think once they start getting targets there, and then you have Josh McDaniels coming to town, who's probably going to be able to revitalize and make he's been so good at making Gronkowski a tool there in years past. And then even last year they had Hunter Henry and the other, I can't remember the other guy there. But he knows how to utilize these tight ends. I just think he's in a far better situation to exceed whereas Hawkinson has no one around him, yes, but I mean, I just don't trust anything about the Lions. The only guy that I think is worth anything on that roster today is DeAndre Swift, and I have concerns about him staying healthy. But other than that, I mean, to me, it's Darren Waller by a mile. And to me, the biggest thing is the health that scares me with Hawkinson. I can't understand. I mean, I loved him coming out of college, but he just can't seem to stay healthy. And that's a problem for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% on the Waller train right now. I had a couple notes from Waller. He had 12 deep targets last year, which was 3rd amongst tight ends. They love to use him all over the field. He is their main target when he's on the field. And like Justin said, Josh McDaniels is coming to town. He targeted the tight end between Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry 27 times in the red zone. That's outrageous. And you get somebody who's as athletic as Darren Waller. Darren Waller is easily an upgrade over both Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. So I think, Justin, you won that one and the overall one. Here's your cheers, my friend.
It's about time I get some respect around here.
And here is a cheers for you both, because that was a hell of a showing for you both.
I think he earned it. I didn't want to root for TJ Hawkinson anyways. I think he should sell.
Oh, I couldn't believe I agreed to represent Mike Gesicki. That was like it's like me. It's like back when I was a sales intern. I used to have to sell these magazines, but I couldn't tell the people I was selling the magazine ads to how many viewers we had looking at our magazines. That's what it felt like trying to sell Mike Gesicki.
I'm selling both Hawkinson and Waller for Noah Fant plus. I'm not thinking twice about it. I think there's an argument for Fant straight up over both these players. That's a hot take. Fant over Waller. I believe it. Fully on board. Yeah. Age.
All right.
I'm all in on Fant. I mean, that's a
cheers to Noah Fant. Cheers to Noah Fant.
Cheers to Noah Fant. May he finally get a quarterback.
But screw George Kittle.
Whoa! You took it too far.
I have the ability to remove you from this.
We were doing so well. We were coming together
what,
in harmony.
You want a quick funny story about George Kittle?
Hey, after this commercial break.
Roses are red, violets are blue, but don't let a wild pube wreck you. Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and our sponsors at Manscaped are here for you with the best tools to get your balls ready for the special occasion. This V-Day, it's time to join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY for 20% off and free shipping. The holidays went by so quickly. Did you remember to take care of your package with the best tools for the job? The Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped is just the thing every guy needs in their life to make each and every day just a little more special. The number one product in this package is the Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer is designed to trim hair on loose skin. And get this, the trimmer's advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks on your delicate balls. It even has a 4000K LED spotlight so you can shave anywhere your heart desires. Get 20% off and free shipping when you use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY at manscaped.com today. Roses.
And we would like to thank Manscaped for supporting our show and lining our pockets with 20 cents. No.
Yeah, but Manscaped doesn't give a flying F, bro. That was a minute 30. They dropped cubes, delicate balls. They don't give a F, dude. They are just...
Hey, they're in the business of making you look good, man. They're in the business of impressing,
straight
man.
Up, no BS. Manscaped is no BS. They're telling you what they're here for. Okay, all right.
All right, guys. So I got one last thing for you. It's a fantasy feud game. It's a fun game. It's going to be tight end centric. You guys ready? You guys ready for some fantasy feud?
I need to complete the sweep here.
All right. Justin's going for the sweep. He's going for the big credit, the bragging rights. He's going to put it on his Twitter. I beat David Gautieri at his own game.
This one's
All right, guys, it's finally time. It's the fantasy feud. This is the fun part of the session. So let's put some smiles on the people's faces as they try and figure out what all these answers are. All right, guys. So the first question is who finished half-point PPR 6 through 10 on the tight ends for the season? And scoring in fantasy, of course.
Ding, ding, ding.
All right, go for it.
6 through 10?
6 through 10. What's your first answer?
I could tell you Kittle, Kelsey, Andrews.
Oh,
well, 6 through 10. I'm fucking drunk, man.
That goes to Justin. Hey.
And those were all top 5 guys.
Bro, you're about to roll your chair into that corner.
I'll give him a head start. Go ahead, Justin. Take the lead.
I'm going
Somebody
to
take a beer away from that man.
I'm gonna say Dawson Knox is there.
He is number 8. Good job.
All right, I'm ready. That was my warm-up round.
Do you want the board or do you want to give it to Drunky?
I'm gonna keep going.
All right, keep going.
All right, so we have Knox, and then I'm gonna go. Gosh, who's the other guy I really like? I'm gonna go Fant, maybe finish it at 10.
No. Fant is not on the board. You like how it like spins around and comes.
Freiermuth had 9 touchdowns too, so I'm gonna go Freiermuth.
He was less than Fan, I think, in point.
He came
Those first 4 weeks didn't really do him any good. He really got started late in the season.
He did.
So we got one last shot.
Kyle Pitts.
That's right.
Whatever was that? Was that
That was number 7. So you have 7 and 8. So you're missing 6, 9, and 10. And remember, this is half point PPR.
Gosh, man. I'm not really that great at this without looking at the stats myself. Trying to think of if there's, I mean, Darren Waller probably didn't finish super high. He's probably going to be 6 or 10. So Darren Waller.
That sounds right, I bet. Really? He didn't finish top 10 in half PPR? It's those touchdowns fucking killed him, huh?
Yeah, and missing all those
Jesus.
games at the end of the season killed him too.
Wait,
All
points
right.
per game? We're doing points per game or total points?
No, total points.
Oh, okay, total points. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a little different. Okay, I was guessing points per game.
So you have the number 7 and 8 off. You're looking for the 6, 9, and the 10. You only need 1 to steal the point. What is it, David Gautier?
And which ones did he hit? He hit on Knox and
He hit Knox and Kyle Pitts.
I was wrong about obviously all the top tight ends, and he was wrong about Frame. I'm gonna guess total points.
You got it.
Zach Ertz.
Ooh, that was close, but he was at.
Did he not get enough touchdowns either?
We have
Did Hawk-
Gronkowski finishing 6th, Kyle Pitts 7, 8 was Dawson Knox, Hunter Henry finished 9th. Believe
Oh,
it or
those
not.
touchdowns in the half.
9
point.
touchdowns. Yeah, he killed it. And then, believe it or not, this one was a shock to me. Dallas Goedert finished 10.
Dude, Dallas Goedert's a stud. I love Dallas Goedert. I either have him or I have Fant. I mean, those are my top 2 players.
I'm on board with that. Those are
Jalen
both
Hurts
undervalued.
loves him some Goddard.
He came on really late. Actually, he didn't really like him too much in the early games. I mean, he really came on after that contract extension. So we have a point to Justin and 0 to David.
Shit.
Come on, David. You got to pick it up, man. He's going to write it on his Twitter.
I never
Twitter
claimed
looks
to be
like
good at trivia games, all right?
My 100 followers. I support you guys.
And they're all going to know, David. They're all going to know. All right, guys. So this one is a historical question. Name the top 5 tight end as far as receiving yards all time.
Ding, 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 George Kittle. Our single season?
Single
season?
all time. Not single season.
Oh,
Duration
Travis
of their
Kelce.
career.
yeah, I'll do that's a good one.
Okay. So you said Travis Kelce?
I'm going to
Shannon
lose
Sharp.
this game.
He
I'm
is
gonna
number
lose this-
6. Just making it at 9,003 yards.
I got to stop giving him because he's going to get it and he's going to go.
Justin, give me a name. Think all time.
Tony Gonzalez.
Woo! Numero uno, Tony Gonzalez, the living legend. All right, you got the board. You need 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Oh my god. I'll go Shannon Sharp.
Beautiful. That was number 4, so you need 2, 3, and 5.
God. I'll guess Gronk. I'm sure I'm wrong.
Just above Kelce at number
I
5.
was going to say, I'm surprised he has more than Kelce.
They're the same.
And add it a
age,
little
which
bit longer.
What was I going to say? Let's see. So what numbers am I looking for?
2 and 3.
2 and 3 all-time tight end. My favorite player from back in the day. God, what's his name? Who's that dude from the damn Chargers?
Shit.
See, I can't tell you that.
Oh, yeah, because that's my answer. That's the one I was hoping you forgot about.
God damn. What the hell's that dude's name?
Oh, yes. I might win on a technicality. He knows the guy, but he doesn't know the name.
Fucking damn it.
Oh,
That's
man.
my only way out. Come on, Justin.
Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates.
Fuck.
And boom goes the dynamite. Is right. Antonio Gates comes in at number 3 all time. You're looking for the number 2 answer. You have 0 strikes right now. You have 3 chances to guess it right.
Okay, we're looking for the number
2.
3, number 2 all time.
Antonio Gates was 3. Yep.
Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna go with. I don't even want to say the dude's name because I don't even think it's right. Aaron Hernandez.
Oof.
Nowhere close. Nowhere close.
No.
Nowhere close.
Hold on 1 sec.
They're saying Boo Earns, right?
So we have 1 strike against you.
All right. All-time tight end, number 2 on the freaking list. I'm shit. I'm drawing a blank now, man. I don't even.
I would just start throwing out names.
Yeah, we're gonna go with. Let's see, Travis Kelce.
I already guessed it.
Other one I'm gonna go with is.
I'll give you guys both this because it is your last chance, and it would be a steal. He is not playing in the league right now.
I had a feeling.
I figured he wasn't playing in the league.
And I got a feeling I know who it is. So fuck up, Justin. Give me that chance to take home the gold.
If I had a guess, I'm going to assume. God, I don't even know. I'm assuming it's going to be a Ram or something. I don't even know. I'm going to go with.
Do you want me to just exit? I'll just exit.
Just exit.
David knows.
I don't know. I think I have an idea because he's already got the new times. It's not Kelce. He already got Gronk. He already got Gates. He already got Gonzo. He already got Sharp. It's got to be. Is it Kellen Winslow?
Ooh, that's a nice one, but it's wrong.
It's an old timer. Is it?
The correct answer is he is just. I'm just gonna run an X3. I'm gonna mute you like around the horn. The correct answer is Jason, the great white cowboy Witten.
Ugly Witten, just churning out those low yard per reception yards. Still he's 45 and gray in the beard.
His final season with the Raiders helped him get to where he was. Not really. He kind of stuck with the Raiders. All right, so now we are 2-0. David, you really need to put some work in, bro, or else it's going to be a clean sweep.
I never claimed to be a tight end historian. I just want to put that on the record. Never claimed to.
Well, the good thing for you is that this is one that's relevant to 2021. Give me the top 5 individual performances in half PPR.
Half PPR? Top 5?
Gronk.
George Kittle's got one of them. I know that for a fact.
All right. So I heard Gronk first. So Gronkowski is correct. Gronkowski's performance in week 1, 25 points, earned him 4th on the list. You're looking through for 1, 2, 3, and 5.
1, 2, 3, and 5. I'll do. Obviously, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Dawson Knox because I know that's got to be a top 5. He's killed it on 1 or 2 games this year.
Oof.
I don't know about that.
Oof.
I don't know if he had a top 5er.
Oof.
Or just. We're talking about top 5, like the top 5 highest scoring games this season.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, top 5 individual performances for one game.
Okay.
1 strike against you.
Darren Waller, week 1. Oh shit!
I might
Who
lose.
strikes
I
against
might get
you?
on the board. I might get on the board here. I don't want to get shut out. Justin.
All right. Well, since obviously I don't fucking understand what the hell I'm doing, let's go ahead and do. I'm obviously going to do Travis Kelce.
Oh yeah,
That's
never a bad
It's
answer.
gotta be right.
Yeah.
There's no.
Never a bad.
Tight end 1, Mark Andrews.
That's gotta be right.
Mark Andrews had the best performance with 36.2. Kelce had the second best with 36.1. Kind of feels like their season. Going back and forth till the very end. And then Mark Andrews pulls in front.
I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot here. I'm gonna go Freiermuth because he had a couple games at the end.
While he had a great season. All right, David, you already know who it is.
Can I go? Can we do double or nothing? Like if I get the both right, then remaining 2, nothing wrong. It's 2 to 2.
Bro,
I say George Kittle and Kyle Pitts are the remaining 2.
Bro, you know what? For the sake of the show, sure. You
George
get
Kittle,
it, and then
Kyle
we'll
Pitts.
go into the final one.
Am I right, George? Tell me it was Kittle and Pitts.
35.1 George Kittle in week 13. Got it. All right, guys. For the
What about
sake
Pitts?
of
Was the
time
other
and
one
because
Pitts?
I love this competition, we are going to go with a very special one. It's not tight end influence. It's total madness. What is, according to 2023 in the New York Post, the best Super Bowl snacks 1 through 5?
Oh, potato
Wings.
chips.
All right.
Wings was first. I was first on that one.
You're both wrong, but
Wings isn't even top 5?
yeah, they weren't.
Pizza.
Surprising enough.
Well,
What did you say?
Snack. I was gonna say pizza, but you said snack. That's not.
Yeah,
right.
it's a snack. Snack.
Um,
You gotta think
Veggies.
of wings as kind of a meal too, I guess, in their eyes.
So
What were you saying?
snack? Vegetable platter? I don't. A snack? It can't be wings or pizza.
All right, it's gonna be the first one to guess it, I guess.
the best snack. I mean, I love me some
Pretzels.
chips and dip. Oh,
He said chips.
All right. So
let's go. I'm gonna go those little like Greek pinwheel things. Those things are good.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
So that when you live in the
Buffalo
Midwest,
chicken dip.
I could almost see the Google search in your glasses.
No, I'm just.
No,
I'm
I'm just
seconds.
I'm only
If I was
kidding.
gonna Google search, I would have Google searched the tight ends. I wanted to win those fucking things.
So, for the sake of, I know that we're not going to get any of the rest of them, I am just going to say double or nothing rules. David won that one. All right, David, 1-1. You guys had a great showing out today. Thank you both. Where can I find you, David? Where can our fans find you? What are you up to?
You can find me mostly on Twitter right now at Guru Fantasy World, WRLT. Also just started the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, same name, Guru Fantasy World. There's an O in that world on the podcast. Also on YouTube, Guru Fantasy World. You can find all my stuff there. There will be a website coming up for this season. It will be gurufantasyworld.com. It's in the making. Hopefully it can get you guys like the main goal of that site's going to be a free encyclopedia, basically just defining like acronyms like ADOT and just like all these other fantasy terms, so you guys can look them up if you ever need to know what they mean.
Well, that's awesome, man. Props to you. Looking forward to seeing your new podcast and checking out your new website. Justin, Dynasty Mad, other than updating your Twitter and putting on there that I beat David at his own game, what are you up to, my man? What are you bringing to us? Just what's new in your world, man?
Not much. I got some articles I'm writing this week for Prediction Strike for the Super Bowl.
Nice.
Hopefully they'll be sponsors of the show one day. If you love Dynasty, Prediction Strike's the place to go, guys. You can go in there and invest in players, just like stocks and stuff like that. So writing up some analysis for that. I think it's going to be a big week for Cooper Kupp, and I don't think it's prediction for the Super Bowl, guys. I don't think it's going to be a very good one. I think it's going to be just a complete ass whooping. Rams all the way, I think, unfortunately.
Well, we can agree to disagree. I think it's going to be a flip side on that. I think it's going to be the Bengals, but I do agree with you. Cooper Kupp always gets his. And, if I were to put any money on it, I think Cooper Kupp's going to go off. But, guys, it's been a wonderful show. As usual, you can catch me on Twitter, SemtexMax93. You can catch the show every Thursday at 10 a.m. or at 10 p.m. And then you can catch us our rerun on Tiki Live, Belly Up TV app on Saturdays at 9 a.m. It's been a wonderful show, guys. Next week, we got a mock draft coming for you, so looking forward to it. And as always, stay frosty, Brew Crew. Have a good one.
Thanks, David. Thanks, guys.